G'day and welcome to Does It Matter? I read a quote today, or reread it. It's been a while since I read it, by Jean-Paul Sartre, the great French philosopher. And it struck a few notes in me that will probably supply more than one video. I want to read it to you simply because I can elaborate on it a little more afterwards. He said, "Man cannot will unless he has first understood that he can count on nothing but himself, that he is alone, left on the earth in the middle of his infinite responsibilities, with neither help nor succor, with no other goal but the one he will set for himself, and no other destiny but the one he will forge on this earth. It is this certainty, this intuitive understanding of his situation that we call despair. You can see that it is no fine romantic frenzy, but the sharp and lucid consciousness of the human condition, just as anguish is indistinguishable from a sense of responsibility. Despair is also inseparable from will. With despair, true optimism begins, the optimism of the man who expects nothing, who knows he has no rights and nothing coming to him, who rejoices in counting on himself alone and in acting alone for the good of all." Jean-Paul Sartre. One of the most profound quotes I've ever read, because it encompasses so much. It sort of embodies the existentialist philosophy, Stoicism, elements of Buddhism, all in one go. Some people would call it bleak. I guess reality is bleak. Reality is bleak. It is. It's hard. Reality doesn't care about us. Reality engages in the natural processes of evolution and cosmic structure and cosmic process, and that's it. And if we're in the way, well, we know what happens. It's happened to most of the other species that have existed on this particular planet. People engage in self-interest all the time. Evolutionary psychology has known this for decades. It's something that seems to have been only recently remembered by some elements of society and largely forgotten, is that most people are irrational actors who act in their own self-interest. And acting rationally and acting in the interest of others as well as oneself is trained. It is not natural. It is trained. It is part of curating the natural anthropology of our species so that we don't act like, crazy instinct-driven primates, which we still largely do. And Sartre understood that despair, the opposites on the coin, the two sides of the coin, despair and anguish and all the dark triad type traits and feelings, all those dark, somnolent feelings and experiences were necessary, vital even, to the promulgation, to the ignition of hope, the ignition of the better aspects of our nature. And that you don't get to those better aspects, you just don't, until you've been tested by the darker aspects of your own nature and your own culture, which is where I suspect we are at this point in time, in a deep transitory stage where society is undergoing many rapid changes, and we're all stumbling to try to keep up and also compensate not only for those changes, but the mistakes those changes are making, because we tend as humans, as the smelly primates that we are, to throw the baby out with the bathwater. We tend to discard everything, burn it all down and start again. And that's never the solution. Never. It's never the solution. It's not always the solution to stick band-aids on it either. And that's the other side of the things. We tend to patch things together that need a much better job than that. And we tend to band-aid stuff and hope it limps along for a while longer. I tend to go with Sartre on this, that if you want real optimism and you want real engagement, real power within yourself and within the world, recognizing that at some level you are alone. No one will come to rescue you. And this is the truth. At the end of the day, your friends are busy. They've got their own struggles. They've got their own limitations. You really are at some point, in some ways, alone. And you can be drawn down by that. You can be dragged into the morass by that. Or you can be buoyed by that, because being alone, being on your own, means you have power. You have agency. You have choice. Okay? And at some point, that agency and choice will link up with others of like mind, and you won't be alone. You will form family, community, and so on and so on. But we're always to some degree alone. When you get sick, no matter how much support is given to you by family and friends, you're the one that's sick. You're suffering the bulk, or pretty much all of the consequences of sickness. You're suffering the lion's share of it, certainly. And you have to deal with it. No one else can really help you. They can offer support and kindness, but at the end of the day, it's whether your body and mind can overcome the illness or not. Same goes with any other struggle or travail in life. We need them, but it is an arms race between our ability to endure them to get to the other side. And the other side is hope, joy, a greater sense of self, an understanding that that self is an illusion as well, and peace. And in peace, we find our greatest strength. But to get to peace, you have to rub your face in the ground glass of reality. The reality is that life is often enormously difficult. And I think Sartre understood that better than most, that we're imperfect beings in an indifferent cosmos, and that is that. And we make our meaning, we make our own beauty from this wonderful existence that we're privileged to have, because again, even at the very beginning of conception, you're one of millions, hundreds of millions of sperm and hundreds to thousands of eggs, that tiny percentage that get fertilized and turned into a person. So you're already an improbable lottery winner in terms of just being alive and being conscious. And if you survive through childhood to adulthood, again, you won another sweepstakes. There's still a lot of child mortality on the planet, though it's vastly improved. We're winners to begin with from the start. And remembering that is one of the major features that get us through the inevitable difficulties that we experience. But just remember, right on the other side of despair, right on the other side of struggle, right on the other side of difficulty, lurks its opposite. All right, there is a reward, not always physically. You don't always get, some big flashbang parade, but there can be internal flips, switches clicked at some time unknown to any of us, and bang, you're at peace. Bang, you're happy even. Okay, you're certainly at peace. You have a meaningful existence. So keep in mind Sartre's poem, and feel free to look it up or replay this video again to hear it. I think it's wonderful, and it reminds me of the nature of this existence and what we can do with it. We are the artists of the cosmos. We are the shepherds, the artists, the gardeners. It's up to us to make something beautiful out of all of this. Oos.